Class of 2022, one more time, let's hear it. We did it! Thank you, Dean Quelch, for that kind introduction. It is an absolute honor to be standing in front of all of you today and to have spent these last 4 years on this campus with all of you. I want to start off tonight with a brief story. A couple of months ago, a few friends and I were sitting outside at one of the Rat Gliders, having 1 or 2 beers, definitely after and not before our late afternoon class. And it hit me that for the first time in almost 4 years, I really noticed the lake. And of course, I'd noticed it before in the literal sense, but I found that so often as we're walking through that area of campus, we are so focused on what we have coming up next. We're either trying to make it to class on time, because let's be honest, we all run on Miami time, or we're rushing to one of our student org meetings, or we're so focused on studying that we don't necessarily take note of or appreciate what's right in front of us. I've been trying to think about why that is, and it brought me back to one of my first days on campus freshman year. I was walking across campus with my older brother, Trevor, who was a senior here when we were all freshmen. And Trevor turned to me and he said, "Jay, these next 4 years are going to fly by, so make sure you enjoy them." And of course, that went right over the head of freshman year Justin, because I was so focused on what we're all paying attention to our first couple weeks on campus, which was, where the heck are my classrooms? What on earth is the Stubblefield building or the Knight building? And how am I going to make my friends and fit in the social scene? But of course, at the end of the day, we all had a pretty typical freshman year experience in one way or another. We were either buried in the books because we realized that college classes actually are a little bit harder than high school classes, or we were trying to get as involved as possible, joining a million different student orgs before probably pretty quickly becoming overwhelmed. Or we were just trying to have as much fun as possible in our first year at Miami, and we were going out every single night. Parents, that was not your kid, but some of us may have been doing that. And freshman year eventually gave way to sophomore year, and we were ready to adapt. We had, for the most part, figured out how to college at a basic level, and we were ready to charge ahead into the next 3 years of our college experience. But second semester sophomore year came around, and we were thrown for a loop because we left for spring break and never really came back that semester. And that was a really hard time for a lot of us. We were completely removed from our social lives, from our friends. We may have been battling things back at home, like illness or issues with family. But adapt once more and persevere, we did. We learned how to integrate into a virtual learning environment. We learned how to use the mute button. At least most of us learned how to use the mute button. And once again, we were ready to move forward into the next couple of years. And then once again, we were asked to adapt, thrown for a loop once more because hybrid learning was coming. And then once again, back to in-person classes, but with all new rules and all new protocols constantly over these last 4 years. We have been asked to adapt, to think ahead, to look forward, and to prepare for what was coming next. And through it all, well, it turns out that Trevor was right, because as I've been told time and time again, older brothers are always right. We can all attest to the fact that these last 4 years absolutely flew by. But why? Why do 4 years that we're so often told are going to be amongst our best 4 years, where we can discover who we are and what we want out of ourselves, out of our lives, out of our friends, out of our future? Why does it fly by so dang fast? I think it's that last piece that really hits the nail on the head, that we're so often asked to focus on our future. And I think that's why sometimes it's so tough to notice your lake. So how? How do we focus on living in the now, on being present, and on appreciating what's right in front of us? Well, a couple of months ago, I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with a former NFL head coach. And he told me that as he goes around and gives talks to teams around the country, to players, to coaches, to staff, he has them do this exercise. It's nothing like a lap around the field. It is a mental exercise about appreciation. He has them sit down and write a thank you note. It sounds so simple, but an unsolicited thank you note, he says, is one of the truly selfless things that you can do that forces you to be present, focused on the now, and appreciative of the things or the people in your life. And I know that I certainly have so much to be appreciative for as I stand up here today, whether it be my incredible family, my parents, my grandparents, my brothers, my girlfriend, whether it be my amazing friends who I have spent these last 4 years with on campus, whether it be my mentors, one of whom is sitting here tonight, these people who have shaped me into who I am. We all have those people in our lives, things in our lives that we need to be appreciative for, that have brought us to this celebratory, awesome moment. And we've learned over these last 4 years, the tough ones in particular, just how vital it is to be appreciative. And we were about to go out into the real world where I've been told we can expect a lot more curveballs. And we are going to be constantly asked to adapt, to think ahead, to think forward, to plan for the future, and I get it. It's important to have goals, to set your marks, hopefully hit them, and achieve your goals. But it is equally important to make sure that you notice and appreciate the people, the things in your life, your lake. And for you, that might be the Friday night out with friends at the bar. It might be weekly game night, sitting down to read a good book, or sitting on the couch watching football come September Sundays. But whatever it is for you, while we are out there taking on our fancy new jobs and grad school, where I have no doubt that we are going to kick ass and take over the world, because that is what we've been planning to do and prepared for over these last 4 years. Don't forget to take a moment to live in the now, to write your thank you note, to take a brief step back, forget about what's next, and for all of us to appreciate our lakes. Congratulations, class of 2022!